Got a great recipe for you now, which is going to take a sort of a classical ribeye steak, which you might be used to cooking in a more traditional way, and we're going to introduce some Thai flavors and make a really, really simple, tasty little salad. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to marinate those ribeyes. Now I'm going to use pretty much what would be staple ingredients in Thai cooking. So first in goes some fish sauce. I'm going to add soy sauce, is some sugar. That'll just sweeten the marinade up and contrast with that fish sauce. So now what you want to do is just whisk that so as the sugar completely dissolves. Just going to pour that marinade over, and what I'll do is I'll wrap it, and after about 30 minutes we'll come back, flip the meat over, put it back into the fridge, and then we'll be ready to cook our lovely steaks. So you'd want to do this in advance basically. So now the steak's been resting in there for about 50 minutes. Just about 10 minutes before we cook it, I'm going to make a really quick dressing to toss that salad in. So we're going to start off with a red chili. We're actually going to take the seeds out of this because they're just a little bit fiery for this salad. So using a little spoon, scrape them out. You want to get rid of any of that white membrane as well that's in there. So you can see there just a tiny little dice. And in that goes to the bowl. We're also going to add in some sliced spring onions. Just run your knife through it slowly if you're not confident, but you really do want a nice little small dice. And then our shallot, peeled it, just want to cut it down the middle. Take the root out, and again, taking your time, really thin slices. Into our bowl. Now we're going to add the remainder of our fish sauce. Pretty prevalent in all Thai cooking, fish sauce, soy sauce. You'll find it keeps popping up. In that goes. We're going to use the juice of a lime. Now the last thing that I'm going to put in there is the lovely fresh coriander. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the stalks in there as well. Stalks are really, really strong on coriander. Just make sure you chop them quite fine. And then that goes with our dressing. Now we're just going to mix that up. So we're just going to set that to one side, and we can go back and get our steak that's been marinating for an hour. Now all we have to do is cook that lovely steak. What I'm going to do is I'm going to season it with salt, and I'm actually just going to be very light with the seasoning. Now the reason for that is soy sauce contains a high amount of salt. So if I put another load of salt on there, it's just going to end up too salty. So just a little tiny bit. Generous with the black pepper. Very important, the grill is nice and warm. I'm just going to go with a tiny little bit of oil. What we're looking to achieve here is we want it to be really, really hot so as it just sears the outside. The natural sugars that are in there will caramelize with a lovely brown outside, and then down the middle I'm looking for a really nice medium rare. So you can see that the smoke's starting to rise. That's the perfect opportunity to just place it on. We really are listening for that nice, strong sizzle. So those are searing away there nicely. You can see there's a really nice hot temperature, which means that we're going to get a lovely caramelization. I'm going to cook them for literally about 90 seconds on each side. You just want that golden brown color on the outside. Flip it over, another 90 seconds, and then we'll take them off and just allow them to rest as all those juices can relax. So I'm just going to spoon a couple of little spoonfuls of the marinade over the top of the steaks. So, just flipping that steak over, gorgeous caramelization on there. Now, just a little bit of our lovely marinated with all those lovely pungent Thai spices over the top, those shallots, the spring onions, and that's going to enhance the flavour of those steaks even more. So another 60 to 90 seconds on there, then we'll take them off and we can rest them and go ahead with preparing the rest of the salad. Now, just as the steaks are nearly ready, I'm going to show you a really handy tip. A couple of forks. We're going to place them onto a plate, crisscrossed. Just going to pop the steaks there. Those steaks, as they cool down and relax, it's called resting. But a little bit of juice comes out of those, so we don't want the steaks wallowing in their own juices. So as the steaks rest, really, really quickly going to assemble this salad. First up, cucumber. Using a peeler, I'm just going to get some strips of cucumber. Now this just makes it slightly different, makes the salad look really, really pretty. In that goes to the bowl. We're also going to add in a couple of little sliced shallots. Once again, as fine as you can get them. Now, a few cherry tomatoes. I'm using baby spinach here today. You could quite easily use rocket, Mizuno, any salad you wanted to, but I think baby spinach works particularly well. I'm just going to add a tiny little bit of oil in the rest of that little marinade that we had with the coriander, the shallots, the spring onions. In that goes. Lovely Thai flavors in there. Just season it with a little bit of salt, fresh black pepper, lightly toss that, just being very gentle. All I have to do now is slice that beef, which should at this stage be absolutely perfectly medium rare. Very, very sharp knife. We're just gonna get some little thin slices, and you can just see in there that it's absolutely perfectly medium rare. When you cook a steak, all that heat, the meat tenses up, gets really, really tough. So we've just set it down, let it relax, and all those juices have come flowing out, and I can guarantee you it's really, really tender. Now, using a little spoon, don't be afraid to use your hands when you're plating up. As long as they're nice and clean, it's a really easy way to make the food look pretty, and you've got a lot more control over it. And then up on top of that, I'm just gonna very gently just lay that lovely beef. And just to finish it off, tiny little bit of the remaining dressing just spooned over the beef, and a couple of little mint leaves just on top. Now, I think you'll agree that if you haven't cooked Thai beef before, if you're not really familiar with the ingredients, this is probably a good place to start. It's ridiculously simple, packed full of flavor. It's a lovely little Thai beef salad.